So he's faithful to do just what he said he could do. So don't focus on the fight, focus on his faithfulness. Man, that's good preaching. Don't focus on the fight, focus on God's faithfulness. Don't focus on the problem, focus on God's power. Don't focus on the storm, focus on the scriptures. Because if you do, you'll be reminded that if God before you, he's greater than the world against you. Preach, Jesse, I'm doing the best I can. If you focus on the scriptures instead of focusing on your storm, you'll see that this circumstance is just it's not going to last forever. It's not terminal, as it were. This too shall pass. So focus on him when you're tempted to give up hope. And I'm almost done. So they passed through the storm in Acts 27 and they lightened their load. They lost all hope. The final thing I want to point out to you is that Paul listened to the Lord. He listened to the Lord. Sometimes in a storm, this is the most difficult thing to do. But it's the best thing to do. He listened to the Lord. Look at Acts 27, verse 21 through 26. The Bible says, after the men had gone a long time without food, Paul stood up before them and said, men, you should have taken my advice. My Lord. Doesn't it bother you when people do that to you? That doesn't mean anyway. But Paul said, men, you should have taken my advice not to sail from Crete. Then you would have spared yourselves this damage and loss. But now I urge you to keep up your courage, because not one of you will be lost. Not one of keep up your courage, because not one of you will be lost. Only the ship will be destroyed. Last night an angel of God, whose I am and whom I'm served, stood beside me and said, do not be afraid, Paul. You must stand trial before Caesar, and God has graciously given you the lives of all who sail with you. So keep up your courage, men, for I have faith in God. That will happen, what? Just as he told me. He said, I have faith that it will happen. Not just any kind of way, but just as he told me. I wonder, is there anybody in Golden Gate Cathedral who has faith to believe that it will happen just as God told you? You're going to get the house just like God told you. You're going to get the promotion just like God told you. I don't know what God told you, but what I do know is what he said. You're going to get it just like he told you. He said, keep up your courage, men, for I have faith in God that it will happen just as he told me. Nevertheless, we must run aground on some island. So there are two things here that I want you to see, and then we'll land this plane for the evening. First thing I want you to see here is that there's spiritual strength that was shared in the midst of the storm. Spiritual strength that was shared in the midst of the storm. As the storm was raging and the people were worrying, an angel of the Lord came speaking. Say that again. That's real poetic preaching. As the storm was raging and the people were worrying, an angel came speaking, and it told Paul not to be afraid. And I think that's a great thing to remember, because sometimes when people go through stormy and stressful situations, they don't want to hear anything about God because they wonder where God is and the mess that they're dealing with. Anybody ever been there? Well, don't tell me what they talked about on Sunday. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about how I'm going to get this bill paid. Anybody ever had a storm and said, well, you don't want to hear nothing about God, don't you? You don't want to hear nothing about, I pray for you. No, you pay for this. That's what I want to hear. So sometimes in a stormy situation, we don't want to hear anything about God because we wonder, where is God in this mess I'm dealing with? But here we see that God was sending a message in the middle of the messy situation to encourage Paul that he was going to make it through this storm. And I wonder if anybody has ever had God send a message in the middle of your mess so that you can see that I'm not going to die on the inside of this circumstance. Sometimes God will send a message right in the middle of your messy situation. He'll do it. He'll do it. He'll do it. He'll send a message in the middle of your mess. Yeah. It may not have been an angel, but it may have been a song on the radio that left you singing, I feel like going on. It may not have been an angel, but it may have been a conversation with a friend that encouraged you to get up and go forward. It may have been a passage in the word or a statement in a sermon, but somehow or another, God sent a tailor-made message just for you in the middle of your mess that you've been going through, so that you could realize that this storm that you're in would not stop you. And that's what happened to Paul. The angel came with a word from the Lord to encourage him so that he would know that this situation is not going to stop you. And when the angel encouraged Paul, he could turn around and encourage other people who were on the same boat with him. Because when God strengthens you in the stormy situation, he enables you to speak life to those who are going through the same circumstances.